we need to correct in our own local culture of swimming is to have more respect for the coach.
I hope in a few years, Siobhan, I will invite you to interview Pharrell when she goes to her Olympics.
Absolutely. I'll be there. I'll be there cheering you on.
So having the support and kind of encourage.
They find out that, oh, it's all yards.
I think that sport communities need to work on getting a lot closer outside of sporting events. I don't think there's enough group swimming activities that don't revolve around training.
Don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anyone hold you back. Go out.
Looking at it as an obstacle today, right? But there's so much more positive you could find out of this. Bad is all about perspective.
Swimming for me has given me so much, and my life would not be what it is today if it wasn't for swimming, and if it wasn't for the opportunities that I received when I was in Trinidad.
I hear you returning to the competition soon.
It's a pleasure for me, and I told you this now. Thanks for the interview. You know, we could still get some ideas how we could run swimming. Everything has not went down with the yellow submarine. We could save it. All right, we could save it.
So you have hope.
Yeah, I have hope. I have hope.
You could take Nikolai Blackman in a race now.
Not a chance in the world, but I wouldn't let him hear that.
When you have me on the show, you have to the Trinbago best show.
No, thank you. This is a great. This is such a great initiative. I wish I had this when I was actually swimming.
Coaches, you all can open up about your own experiences, because all of us has been through this COVID-19 pandemic.
Hey parents, life in sport for your son or daughter as an athlete is bound to have some challenges as well as setbacks.
Adversity doesn't exist to bug you down, but rather it's to teach you a lesson.
When you wake up in the morning, start thinking positive thoughts. Replace those negative thoughts and those negative emotions with positive affirmations about yourself. Letting yourself be reminded that you're going to have a great day. You are worth it. You love yourself.
Taking that on. They be like, I will do it for free.
So I'm from Tobago, guys. I'm currently based in Florida. Hopefully when COVID is over and the borders are reopened, I'll be back home so we could start something. And my IG handle is AziJo7. So be sure to follow me because I post videos every day, my workout videos. So let's go.
Good evening, and welcome to episode number 16 of Chlorine Callaloo right here on Trinbago Freestyles Facebook page. We are live right on YouTube and also Facebook. Welcome. If this is your first episode, well, you missed a lot, but you're tuning in just in time for episode number 16. We have a packed program today as usual. And first, we'll get right into it. What we're going to try to do over the next few weeks is that, this month normally we're accustomed having our Maracas open water swim, and it used to be called the Cross Harbour swim in the past. And for the next few weeks, we'll be featuring past winners in our Flashback Freestyles, past winners of the Maracas Open Water Swim. So I know the race is not happening this year, but we hope we could bring back a little memories or just keep you engaged during this difficult time of COVID-19. So we have our Flashback Freestyles, Coach's Conscience. We have Callaloo Cook-up with our chef. We'll see if she's the chef today. And our Coach's Conscience. So we'll get right into it, actually, and we're going to start today, like we did last week, actually, with our Flashback Freestyles. And today, our Flashback Freestyles is Mr. RHETT CHEE PING, who was a former national swimmer, former CAC medalist, and he won the Cross Harbour swim from 1982 to 1984. Good evening, Mr. CHEE PING.
Good evening, Andre. How are you?
I'm okay. It's Jason. Don't call me Andre. That's our next host. That's my middle name, but Andre's our next host. So how are you this evening, Mr. CHEE PING? Welcome to Chlorine.
I'm fine. And you? Glad to be on the show.
I'm good. So this is a special Flashback Freestyles. We're gonna, as we said in the intro, we're trying to feature as of the Cross Harbour. We know with COVID, we have no need to go to. So, Mr. CHEE PING, tell us a little bit, how did you get involved in the sport of swimming?
Well, being a youngster and I'm enjoying the beach, I used to go to the beach every weekend. And my mother decided that in order for us to really enjoy the experience, we really should learn how to swim. So back in the old days where she looked up, swimming lessons. We found a place in Bretton Hall, and that's where we went. And it took off from there. From the time I first went into the pool, I mean, everybody was laughing at me. I used to swim at one arm and go around in circles. The extent of how good I was at that point in time. But I absolutely loved the water. So it was easy after that.
It was easy, right? So you learned to swim, but then eventually, how you reached to the competitive part of it? How you got into competitive swimming?
Yeah, well, after we learned to swim, then we joined Marlin Sim Club with an absolutely brilliant coach and a mentor of mine, which was James Choco Aloy. I mean, brilliant man. I mean, I would say, and a lot of us in that era, swimming was our life. That was what there was to do. We didn't have internet or anything else. So swimming was where you met people, made long-time friendships, lifelong friendships, I would say. And it just took off from there. And for me, it was when my brothers and sisters went to swim, I always wanted to tag along, being the youngest one, but I always wanted to race, always wanted to. If they went to morning training, I didn't have the opportunity, but I wanted to tag along.
So you went on from tagging along to making national teams. How you moved from that?
I made my first national team at 11 to the CCCAN games in Santo Domingo. And that was a brilliant experience for a youngster, I would say. That was the first time that I shaved my head. Just to be part of the team. It was a 16-member team. But I think that was one of the best teams that I was on.
Best team.
Coaches were Jeffrey Ferreira and, if I remember correctly, Pete Sam Jr. But I think we won the majority of the medals out of any English-speaking country there at the time, with only 16 members.
And that's how CCCAN used to be. We go with a little small team, but we try to come back with as many medals as possible.
Yes, yes.
So tell us about that open water. You won 3 years straight.
I know you brought back some memories, and I was thinking, I remember one was in Pointe-à-Pitre. I remember one was in Tobago, but I guess I have to read the back of the shirt to find out where the third one was.
They don't have it on the back of the shirt. That's how your name.
But I think it maybe have been two in Tobago, or one in Pointe-à-Pitre, one in Chagaramas, and one in Tobago. But it was a nice experience. I love the open water swimming.
So you won in 82, 83, and 84. What happened in 85?
85, I wasn't here. I had gone away to school.
All right, so you win and you win.
That's where the rain stopped. I didn't come back. But then I believe Camille Chatul took over. And she was the prodigy and the brilliant woman swimmer in those days. So I saw you had Gerard Rodriguez on before.
Right.
Which was going to be my third time. He came back to swim, and I was extremely worried because, again, you always looked up to Gerard. He was an older swimmer, and he had won it quite a few times also. So I was like, oh my God, Gerard's going to come back and put a spoke in my wheel for this third time. But
no, we hoping to have Camille come on sometime soon. She's in the chat here, seeing here.
Yeah. Yes, we had some good days training, some good days.
Good days. But you went on from being not just a swimmer, I don't mean it like that, but I see you went on to rugby, triathlon. Is it that you did all of them at the same time? Is it that you stopped swimming and went on to the others? How did it happen?
I always dabbled in everything when I was in school. So I always played a little rugby, a little football. The triathlon was just by the way. I was training for the Olympics at that time. I wasn't selected for political reasons or whatever reasons that is, but to me, my sister was training for the triathlon at that time, and all that training was going down the drain. And I said, you know what, I'm going to enter this. I'm going to show everybody that I could win this and really it was because of all the training that I had done. I mean, I had never picked up a bike and I never ran. I'm not. And by any stretch of the imagination, I am not a natural runner. But it was, with the amount of training that I was doing at that point in time, it was second nature. And then I just picked that up and then went on to the rugby.
Well, you sound like me. I'm also allergic to running.
I'm not allergic. I love to run, but I am
I'm allergic.
The worst runners there is.
But I want to pick up on something you said there. I don't know if I was going to our next question, but you talked about trying to get to the Olympics. Is that one of your disappointments in the sport, not being able to get to the Olympics?
Yes, it was two disappointments really. The year that we were supposed to go to the Commonwealth Games, which TNT boycotted, and it was the same thing. You put in all this hard work. And the powers that be up there say, we're not going. And that one, we were actually dressed ready for the airport. And then they called you and tell you cancel. And then the same thing with the Olympics. It was, they gave you qualifying times to make. You made the qualifying times. And then the powers that be says, well, you're not medal potential. And to me, I'm like, who's medal potential in the Olympics? Anything can happen in any race on any given day. So you never know. And we have all these grand stories of people coming from behind, I had a coach in the US he was a world record holder, but never made it to the Olympics because he could never make the US national team to qualify. So, all these things come into play.
So, you are a swimmer, you went on to rugby, you were a rugby coach as well. And you were also the chairman of the sports company at Trinidad and Tobago. And you were there for a while. From having experienced all those angles, right? What do you think are some or one of the biggest problems we have in sport in Trinidad and Tobago?
The biggest problem that I could see, and one leads into the other one. The first one is funding. Funding is a big problem, So you want to give the national teams the money to go away, but where's the money coming from? While you go in there and the money is allocated, it's not there. So you still have to look for it. So a lot of, I should say, disciplines that fell under the sport company felt that money was just sitting around lying there. And if I was allocated $2 million, that $2 million is sitting there. So Mr. Chee Ping, can I have $2 million or, break it up? But truth and in fact, you still have to go to the Ministry of Sport. So, and with that comes, you don't get the high level competition. So you can't keep training in Trinidad and competing in Trinidad, and then once a year you want to go out and absolutely, big championships and expect to compete. You can't. You might compete once at the younger ages, but as you get older and these people are more experienced, to keep competing at that high level is something that it takes money because over to stay up at that level. I remember when I first went away to school to swim, I mean, down here you were a big fish, and up there you have little 9 and 10-year-olds touching your toes saying, hey, move out the way, buddy, we're coming. So, I mean, and it's the funding. So without the funding, you can't go. And if you can't go, then you can't compete.
But let me ask a question. Are we spending the funding in the right areas?
That's another thing. So, where do we want to be? Do we want a youth development program that we want to spend the money into? Or do we take the money and we put it into somebody who's already at the top? So that's something that the powers that be need to look at. And as you said, where do we put the funding? Yes, you have the elite athlete funding for your guys like George and them who were at that time, those are the ones where the money is, because you need to support them to get the name out there. Trinidad and Tobago, George and them did excellent.
Right.
But you have others on the fringe that are we going to pay for them again to come 8, 9, 10, not make a final? Or are we going to pump that money into the next level that's coming up? So again, it's a juggling act of where the money goes and where do we, but we must follow the plan. But everybody comes and we don't have the correct plans in place.
So back in '86, right? I know you got your CAC medal, relay medal. How was that? You remember that experience?
Yes, CSC, we got 2 medals actually. I got a medal in the 400 IM and
right.
in the 4x100 individual medley, or no, 4x1 freestyle relay.
Right.
That was I wasn't even thinking of medaling in the 400 IM because the 400 IM was the day before the 400 freestyle, which is what I really went for. And I swam the 400 IM, came third, and I was like, wow, this is great. Feeling great, ready to go. Woke up the next morning for the 400 freestyle and couldn't even get into the final. Just totally bonked on the morning. I don't know what it was. But learning experience. You try to do everything you did the day before the same way because it's so good, but it just didn't work out. But again, coming home with the medal in the 400 IM and the relay, where we weren't even supposed to medal in the relay, but I mean, I believe it was Andre DeFintala, Bruce Kaufman, Mark Andrews, and myself.
Did they use the same kind of hype they have now for the medals?
Not really. Not really.
And that's exactly why
we hard to get those medals.
That's why we exactly have Flashback Freestyles. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that we had CSA medalists before now, right? They think about, and that's exactly part of the reason we try to reach out to persons who people. I mean, I saw your name actually as a name on the record sheet some years ago, and I didn't know who RHETT CHEE PING was, right? Yeah, I'm telling you, and that's what we're trying to do to bring back with the swimming with this segment, to bring back those who would have contributed in the past and to put a face to the name and let them know that, hey, there were people before yours, right?
Yeah, there were people before us too, and you mentor them. And, as you said, that open water swim, I always remember the rivalry between Randy Atten and Jared Rodriguez, and then it was myself, and then you had Camille and Anil and Shastri, and, so it's a legacy that keeps coming along. And now we have Camille's kids that are ripping it up outside there. So again, it's as you said, it's good to put a name and to find out where we came from.
You ever did any masters? Or do you do masters?
No, not at all. I tried, I came back. After I would say 88, I just kind of went off of swimming. I really did. It was a big disappointment. I never wanted to get back into it. Even training for a triathlon, I didn't even want to go in the pool and swim. And then I went back a day. Everybody says, come back and try masters. And I went to one workout. And when they dropped 400s on me, I said, nah.
I'm done.
Well, and as it is, the coach said, I heard how you used to train. And I'm like, no, I'm not into that anymore.
Well, I hear you and Camille coming back soon after the COVID, so you're hoping for the best.
No. She could take it. She could take it.
Yeah. Any final? What message you would have for Trinidad and Tobago swimming?
I know Trinidad and Tobago swimming is going through a rough period right now. With this COVID lockdown, I mean, it must be extremely difficult on the young kids, coaches to stay motivated. And I think that's part of, do something different. Yeah, we have the public pools closed. Some people probably have a private pool, hook up whatever you can, swim stationary. I know there's no substitute for getting in the water, but there are other things you can do outside. Walk, run, hike, something to stay active, stay focused, and, stay positive.
All right. Those multi-sport athletes representing Trinidad and Tobago in rugby as an athlete and a coach. You ever coached in swimming? You ever did any coaching in swimming yet?
Yes, I coached Marlins for one. I would say one semester, but again, that was difficult because from work I would have rugby training from 5 to 7, then rush from rugby training down to the pool, try and get 7 to 9. Again, something had to give because if I was late from rugby training, it was I couldn't keep doing that to the kids where they're suffering and I'm reaching late.
But thanks very much for your contribution to Trinidad and Tobago swimming. I know you tried in your dispensation in the sport company at Trinidad and Tobago to give back as well. Thank you very much for your contribution and continue to stay safe during this time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. So that was Mr. RHETT CHEE PING. So right now we're getting ready for our nutritional nugget segment.
Hey guys, it's Yabner again, the sport leadership consultant with Acid Bodies Governance Clinic. Let's pick it up, Patients with Excellence Makoya. And today we're gonna get tie up the 4-part series. Today is the 4th video that we're making. We're gonna tie up this 4-part series and we're gonna just bring it all together. How do you balance diet, training, rest, and nutrition, or diet, nutrition, right? How you balance all of that to ensure that you are having the optimal performance in your sport, right? In this case, it's aquatics, right? So what you need to have with you, or your coach should have with you, is the layout of training for the year. Even with COVID-19 restrictions, there still needs to be a structure that is being followed. This would be something called a macro cycle, which looks at the entire year of training, because you may have had and be cancelled now, but what is the end goal by the end of the year? That is a macro cycle. And from there we go into meso cycles, which is like month to month, or sometimes when you maybe 3 months meso cycles, right? And that will then look at the management of, okay, we want to be able to hit 23 on a 53. So how do we get from where we are now to there? We then look at, okay, this month of these 3 blocks of training, we go look at doing your distances, then we go look at very more specific, and then go look at really focusing on that last bit of training to get you to that peak at the end of that macro cycle, right? And then it could be even further broken down some micro cycles, where you look at, okay, this week, what will we target for this week? Now, having all of that, you're always supposed to have a nutrition macro cycle, right? Where that looks at, over the course of the year, you're gonna have competition, you're gonna have a period of off-season, you're gonna have a period of volume accumulation. What is your diet looking like through that period in time? It's not going to be the same when you are in contest season. And because of that, this is where you need to have proper planning of your diet, by someone who is licensed to do that, someone who knows what they're doing. And when we at CAC Medallist are very well versed in those things, you check us out to get an idea as to what your diet should be like. Even now with COVID lockdowns and things where you can't train as you want to train or do things you want to do, there is still a need for structure during this time. And it becomes more important because we're not going to be like this forever, right? So you want to make sure that I'm taking this time now, this downtime, to maximize what I can. I'm maximizing the fact that I am now home. I have less fatigue to deal with right now because I'm training less. I'm not as active as I was. So can I afford to be eating in the same way that I was eating months ago before COVID lockdowns began, right? So, that's just how you balance it. And we at Classy Boys Wellness are very well equipped to, if you don't have one, we can do a plan for you that is based on the needs of your specific sport and what phase of training you are in, right? Last week we talked about hydration. Hydration is universally important right throughout the year, right? But balancing those macros, the micros, and training, resting, and fatigue, all those things you need to manage, right? And ensure that you are maximizing your downtime right now. And when you get back into contest season, you're maximizing your everything that you need to control is under control, right? So, it's been fun these last 4 weeks here. Who knows, we may do another one sometime soon. But this is Yaz from Classy Bodies Wellness, and just check us out. If you have any more questions, let us know. Book an appointment. Let's have a conversation and get to know you better. And all the best, guys.
How much did Cindy cook for you?
Well,
all right, Cindy, you can stop. You can stop.
Before I go, I want you all to remember that the only stroke to use with toast bread is the butterfly.
Hello. Whew. I know y'all probably have no idea who this is, right? Because where is my chef hat? Like, what's happening? I closed the kitchen tonight. Kitchen is closed, but I'm still your sous chef. I am your sous chef, Cindy Ann, and that is SUE. Because of course, if I do cook for you, there will be a lawsuit. So I shut down the kitchen tonight because I feel like I need to talk to my co-host and find out how they're coping with COVID and what's happening, and how everybody making out because it's been rough. So joining me tonight is Jason, Asia, and Rocky. 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Asia didn't even know we on.
Happy birthday, dear Jason. Happy birthday to you.
All you have to start over because Asia didn't sing.
Asia,
From the top.
Asia, Asia, your turn.
Yes, Asia, you have to call him privately.
Thank you.
You are welcome. What is going on, Asia? You're missing.
I wasn't seeing anything. That's
yeah,
right.
sure. Well played.
Thanks, Asia. Thanks a lot.
Wink, wink.
Welcome to my kitchen, guys. Welcome to the whole cook-up.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for having me, Cindy Ann.
Again, Asia, welcome. Jason, welcome to the kitchen. Is this the first time you're in my kitchen?
Who?
You.
I've been in the kitchen already. I don't think Rocky is the only one who ain't come in the kitchen yet.
Oh, Rocky.
Well, I put on a hat to make sure my hair, because I'm going to rest here. I make sure my
Exactly.
hair.
I don't want to hear my food. Exactly. I like that. I like that. So let's get straight into it. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, we've been chatting, you know, all through this and talking to other people, finding out how they are coping. So tell me, Asia, how has the pandemic, how has it changed your life and your plans and everything?
I would definitely say it impacted a lot of plans that I had for the year. But on a positive note, I mean, I met you guys. I met you. I started my Instagram page. I started doing like coaching online, things that I didn't think I would have done in the past.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, I'll be okay. I mean, I'm.
Yeah, so you think you've been able to reset?
I'm in the process of resetting.
You can rewind then.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wave. Like some days I'll be good, and then some days I will not be good. But I mean, I have a very strong support system. Jason, Rocky, a few of my friends from back home. Yeah, you know. Yes, Marie, I can always call them and or message, and they will just brighten up my day. So it's a process, and I know we all going through it. So
yeah, Rocky, and you, how has COVID affected your plans and your life? You know,
how hasn't it affected you?
No, like you said, it's been good and bad. Has it been the same for you?
Well, I don't believe anything. I mean, I've been taking some lessons from George. I try not to believe anything is good or bad, right? I believe it's what you make it, right? So to be honest, I have been 5 months without salary this year, right? I have been, out of the loop. I'm unemployed basically, except for Trinbago Freestyles. Right? But outside of that, I have found ways, like I've been doing a lot of reading, on swimming coaching and trying to better myself, right? Because self-mastery is the goal. I'm the only person I could control, and the bigger my influence and my impact or improvements in myself is a ripple effect. So it will flow down to the persons I come in contact with and who I am able to influence, so to speak. In this time, I always wanted to do certain things, but based on my schedule normally, I never have time. So I started learning woodworking, right? And I actually enjoy it a lot. And I'm just trying to find ways to be incomeless but productive.
You would think that because people are saying, they call it, but woodworking could probably bring you some money, because people might be...
At the level I am just...
You never know. You never know.
Not yet, Cindy.
For me, and that's why I like it, and that's why I like coaching, because I like to see a product as it is, and see what my impact or just alterations to simple things, how the changes can come about now. So I would like to see how it is very time consuming. As I told the guy who's teaching me,
what is it? You're talking about your woodworking?
Yeah, it is very time consuming.
So let me ask you then, because you're going into a next thing here, because I want to ask you about, so you have used this time to kind of reset, you would say, or to pause and change that course or your direction, what you'll say?
No, my direction still remains the same, but I have had to find a way to understand that there's a little gap right now where my normal functions don't exist, so to speak.
Okay.
So I found a way to, we both could coexist when things normalize, so to speak. I can still do good work. So that's my goal, to be able to do things to my
Maybe
house.
you could build a diving board for Center of Excellence. You could construct that.
Once it's an ornament enough for people to dive over. You get sued for your cooking. I don't want to get sued for my house.
Jason, talk to me. How has COVID changed your plans and your life? Talk to me.
It has been stressful. It has been stressful. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, sometimes we come on this program and we try to make sure we bathe and we put on powder and we put on makeup and we do what we have to do for the program. But to say that it has been easy, it hasn't. I mean, you have your moments during the course of this thing. And I mean, as in when we were speaking with Asia and Beverly last week, she said, you know, let's skip 2020. And I say, no, not, because honestly, we wouldn't have a platform like this. We wouldn't have, I have to celebrate my birthday on Chlorine Callaloo with a group of cool people, cool-ish except Asia. And, and I mean, despite all the hard parts of 2020 and the hard parts of COVID, I mean, I myself, during this time, I was able to acquire my own house. So I'm unemployed and paying a mortgage. I don't know. Yeah, so that it has been hard. It has been taxing. I won't lie about it. I mean, luckily, I have some people to call when I'm going through my little crazy phases to, you know, help me to keep grounded, etc. But sometimes you just need to lie down and breathe. Close your eyes and take a deep breath
and kind of reset.
It is a challenging time. It is really a challenging time.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I mean, because
I'm cooking and thing a little bit to save some money. I'm not sure how good that will be for my physical health, but it will help my pocket.
So what Rocky can do is, because Rocky's doing the good, so he could probably build like a little parlor or shop or a little restaurant.
Yeah.
So far, it's working out, I think.
Once he builds a toilet one time, too, just in case.
Well, right. So we kind of delve into the whole Chlorine Callaloo and how it has kind of impacted each of you all, right? So, because we were all kind of thrown into this. Yeah. And what do you hope that this can accomplish or has accomplished already, Rocky?
I believe we have a gap to fill between where swimming is in Trinidad versus the rest of the world, right? And I believe that this is a forum that persons could come and get knowledge on various aspects, because me, myself, I have personally become more interested in expanding my horizon and knowledge of nutrition, sports psychology, and those aspects, because, as a coach, yes, they are specialists. I'm not trying to take Asia's position or a dietitian's role, but I do think that I should be able to let my swimmers know, all right, I think you should get a dietitian based on certain things, or just be able to give them the general information needed. And I think there's a good forum that encapsulates all aspects of a swimmer's life, hearing from the past, hearing from.
So you're hoping that Chlorine Callaloo bridges the gap?
For sure.
Yeah, and Asia, what are you hoping this platform accomplishes, or what do you think it has already accomplished?
I would say the same thing that Rocky said, just bridging that gap and kind of informing people that if you want to be an athlete, it's not just about jumping in the pool and swimming laps all day. It's about nutrition and having that sound mind and then pushing your body outside of the pool doing dry land work. And for me, it's also about just knowing how to tie everything in together to make better athletes holistically. So for me, that is what this program is doing, and it's doing an excellent job so far. And I'm actually excited for the upcoming episodes when we
where it goes. Jason, what do you hope? What was your vision? Because you are kind of the mastermind behind all of this. What was your vision? And do you think you have accomplished part of it, all of it, some of it, none of it?
To be honest, I really didn't know what my vision was. I just was depressed during the
Great.
I was depressed during because of COVID, and I needed to find an outlet to get out of it. And Chlorine Callaloo became it. And I'm not ashamed to say is that I would like it to be a second stream of income for the persons who are involved, because I believe that the product that we are producing is not something that we have in sport in Trinidad and Tobago. The kind of conversation that we have going on here is not normal. And we want to make this the new normal. Chlorine Callaloo, that's what I want to make. Chlorine Callaloo, that have to be the new normal and the new way of doing things. It has to be that, you know, we're really serious about development of athletes. We have tried as much as possible to stay away from the politics of the sport. I mean, sometimes the politics would come up, but I mean, we really want to find a path to make sure that we all have a community to operate in that is much better than when we started pre-COVID. But Cindy, you asking all the questions, right? But I want to ask you the same question you just asked us.
Okay, about what? About the program?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned, everybody mentioned about bridging the gap, and I agree, because I mean, I have been away from swimming for quite a few years since my son stopped swimming. Well, since he left Trinidad, I kind of kept in touch, of course, because he was still on national teams, and each time I come home, I would go to a swim meet and try to do something. So this for me is a real good way of networking and kind of seeing the new talent, as well as you mentioned, funding for this platform, as well as trying to attract or kind of encourage people to become more involved, ex-swimmers who are in a position to contribute, to become a mentor, to give back to the swimming community in one way or another. Whether it's a doctor swimmer, particularly now, where pools have been closed and people may not be able to afford to swim, so that hopefully some ex-swimmers, or like I said, ex-members or parents can say, you know what, I'll adopt a swimmer and pay for this child to swim for the next semester, you know, and contact you or Rocky, myself, Asia, and give back to swimming. That's what I'm hoping that this platform kind of, you know, encourages and promotes.
But Cindy, one thing I must say too, but because normally when people call me on the phone or whatever regarding to swimming, it's always to talk about some issue or some politics or some bacchanal, right? One thing I must say that my conversations with a lot of people have been more solution oriented. People want to find solutions, how to fix things. And I don't know if it's going to transmit to swimming in Trinidad and Tobago generally, because I don't have that, because we're so far away from each other right now. I don't have that connect per se, but I really hope it transforms to at least building a better aquatic community. Just hoping for that.
Yeah, and I think we're all doing our part, and even everybody who tunes in, the people who tune in week after week after week, you can see that they're passionate about it clearly. And so let's see if this encourages them to kind of give more. So Jason, as I have you on the floor, tell me, how creative have you had to become to supplement your income? Like, what have you had to do? Because, I mean, Rocky just said 5 months without money, without any source of income. Barring Morris Street, please don't say that.
Well, that was
yeah, please don't say that. This is not a forum.
I mean, to be quite honest, I have not been able to earn additional, but I really have been watching how I spend. If you were, I can't remember the last time, well, I didn't buy food today, but I get free food today because of my birthday. But I don't, but I haven't bought food for a while. I tell you, I just be vexed when I leave a light switch on, because that could mean I'm spending more money on the electricity bill, right? I mean, you really watch the things and how you spend your money. I mean, honestly, it is very difficult to plan. I've gotten addicted to this swimming thing. I was never a swimmer, I was never an athlete, and I can't see myself doing something outside of this. But we need to find a forum to I need to find an additional forum to make money.
Okay.
Plain talk bad.
So you haven't yet kind of figured out how to pivot.
I'm praying and hoping that all the lovely people who are watching Chlorine Callaloo after this show will start to call up my phone and start to say, Jason, how can we sponsor a segment? So the four of us who are currently unemployed, we could get a little something so we can keep up.
Okay. Good plug. Rocky, well, you said you were doing woodworking, so you kind of give us an idea of how you've been spending your time trying to build benches and tabletops and what else. Are you doing lamps as well? What, spoons, wooden spoons? What exactly?
Well, I got married last year, so I've been trying to do some stuff. We recently got a home, so I've been trying to do some stuff for my home, which seems to be costing more. You thought it's just, all right, woodworking, you provided not only labor, but the material is expensive.
Right.
So, I mean, my fingers and toes are crossed that sometime...
Oh, yeah, toes? Which toes? How do you cross the toe? Get it? Which toes?
The big toe and the one next.
All right. Okay.
But, I mean, I'm just watching my spending. Okay. I'm somebody who normally... I mean, if I want something to eat, I buy something to eat. If I want something to drink, I mean, Jason and Asia could attest it, right? I'm not normally...
Just like you, you're kind of watching in terms of how you'd spend your money and doing more of your DIY, do-it-yourself projects at home.
Yeah, and hoping that, I mean, I could find some money around or somewhere. Maybe I could woodworking.
Take it in your backyard. Asia, talk to me. How creative have you had to be to make some, what have you done? Are you,
So, I mean, I'm just like Jason and Rocky, right now I'm just thankful that my family hasn't kicked me out of the house, and my dad is, he's there for me. So if I say, hey, can you send money for me, he will. I'm actually thinking about like starting like a YouTube channel or offering packages like online. So because I do a lot of online coaching for the past couple months. I mean, it's something
for free.
Yeah, for free. I mean,
so you want to try to start to make that a source of income, find a way to. Okay. Yeah. So we have to wrap up. So I just want to ask, I want to direct this one especially to Jason, because I want to know, and maybe Jason and Rocky, but more Jason, what do you say to people who are listening now, because once the world reopens, and now, because we are not the only ones who are, who've lost opportunities and income, what do you say to people who are now saying, I will probably not be able to come back to the pool to learn to swim because I can no longer afford it? How do you encourage people to stay up, or what plans do you have to kind of help people through the times when they can't afford to pay it as they used to? So leave them with something to encourage them that, we'll find a way to get you all back by the pool and make this work, or back training with Asia, or back with Rocky. Tell them something.
I think people, when you have limited resources, you have to prioritize your spending. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times people don't prioritize their health. And this is not about, one of the things we say in these days is lockdown, but we're not saying, how to keep active, because I am fearful that, after this lockdown, we'll have a lot of people with non-communicable diseases and diabetes and these kind of things. So I know that the times are difficult, maybe that's a real big deal. Anyway, I know the times are difficult. I know the times are difficult, but I hope people put into their programming that swimming is a life skill. It's one of the best forms of exercise, etc. So I'm hoping that people consider swimming as an outlet during this time. You can't put a price on your health, and swimming is one of the best exercises for your health. And now I can talk from a facility perspective. We will try as best as possible within the finances that we have to see how best we can make prices as affordable as possible for people. But that in itself is
now is a good time to plug, to ask people who can and who are able to and who are in a position to help, you know, sponsor, support, whether it's to advertise on this show or, you know what I mean? Contact Jason or contact me or Rocky or Asia, and yeah, let's see if we could do something together. So this is it, guys. Welcome and thank you guys so much. And keep in mind, let me see, Rocky, what is the only stroke you can have with your toast?
Butterfly.
Bye, guys. Take care. Bye.
So we're going straight into our mental massage segment. So thank you all. Hello, Sally. I'm not hearing you, Sally. Wait, hold on. Hi, Sally.
Happy birthday to you. And I do have a candle. Okay, no, I won't blow out your candle.
What kind of candle? Sally, what kind of candle are you walking around with there for me?
Oh, it's a Yankee candle. It's very nice.
Let's open this up.
It's a special candle for you. Gives you that feeling.
And Sally, how have you been? Long time no speak live.
I have been great, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things before I lose my trend of thought. One
Go ahead, man.
is that you look amazing for your birthday.
Thank you. But I'm not a year older because last weekend they said everybody birthdays, you're not considering the birthday this year, celebrate. Whatever age you are this year, you're continuing it next year.
I like that. The session you all had just now was fantastic. And I wanted to say to Asia that, and yourself and Rocky, what you all are experiencing is growth. This is growth. And what it does is that it pushes you beyond your comfort zone. And you all have been in that comfort zone. And now you all have to really think how you all entered that crisis, this crisis. Transformation must take place. And when you leave the crisis, you must leave with so many more positive things. And one of the important things is changing your speech. You would have said that it's hard. It's hard. But you got to find a way to change that speech, because mentally you're thinking it's hard and you give power to it. And you have the power to control what's in your thoughts. If you give too much power to negativity, then you allow it to eventually manifest itself. So rather than say, it has been hard, you can say something like, it's different. It's something new. And how can we work around it? How can I see the opportunities in the midst of the crisis? Look at Asia, for example. She has gone on to virtual coaching. She has actually gone on to social media and doing different things. Look at yourself, but you have to ask yourself, what more can I do? What more can I do?
Sally?
Yes?
I don't have $400 to pay shuttle, sir. I can't go to the company, but just let you know.
And it's important to think about these things because, you know, this month is suicide month.
Yeah.
And because of the challenges that many people assume they are going through, you know, they may think suicide is the answer, you know, and it's not. People think about suicide in different ways for different reasons, but you can help by helping someone see or transform their thinking. Have you had experience with dealing or have you met someone who has been suicidal before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And they're alive today, so I guess I did well.
Yeah, and you know, what sometimes you might ask yourself what may make someone think about suicide. And difficult events, COVID-19, no job, no one to turn to.
Yeah.
But sometimes they do have persons to turn to. But because of ego and different factors, they tell themselves, well, if I go back to mommy won't help me. But who knows, if they try, because of the situation, parents may be open, you know, something upsetting or life changing in a relationship. There has been so many abusive relationships, and because of the lockdown, there are so many challenges that are going through that families are facing. There's abuse, there's domestic violence. There are also people who would come out to the pool. Some of these people, they live alone, but because of the lack of social contact, it's what's the reason to live? There's no reason to live. And sometimes there are persons who are on antidepressants. If you don't read the side effects of the antidepressant that you may be on, it can also be a cause for suicidal thinking, right? So I mean, it's life is challenging, but that's life, and we are going to go through different scenarios, but it's how we navigate through those different scenarios is what makes a difference, and it's what builds us and helps us to be better tomorrow and be able to impact people's life. So thinking back to your scenario in the last session, how could you rephrase some of the things that you just said?
Oh yeah, ask my question. I didn't know I was in a counseling session, girl. As in it's difficult. Well, you had somebody answers there. I mean, Sally, being honest, it's been difficult, and I don't like to lie that things are difficult. But at the same time, I have found my channels to deal with my issues, as in through Chlorine Callaloo. I mean, I talk to people every so often when I'm going through whatever. I mean, males especially don't like to talk. And I would like to encourage males, you know, if you feel a certain kind of, I mean, you know how you feel, you know yourself. Don't be afraid to speak up and don't be afraid to talk. It's not, you're not being a wimp by expressing your feelings, that to say you something. So I do give myself positive self-talk in between to bring myself back. I'm not going to lie. I do go into times where I say, Jason, why this happened? Why this happened? You have to pull yourself back. I would encourage persons to just talk. I would encourage persons to talk positively to yourself. Yes, I know in the conversation itself that I may have slipped into the negative, so I have to pull myself back there, but talk positively to yourself.
Yeah, because you see, right now, there's a lot of persons unemployed. Yeah. And people now have to rethink. They have to upskill, they have to reskill, and ask themselves, what else can I do? What is my low-hanging fruit that I can reach out to? Woodworking.
Yeah, cooking.
Cooking, you know? Sometimes people may sit at home right now and they may be feeling, you know, they let themselves down and they are not good enough, and all these things can lead to suicidal thoughts. So just in wrapping up, I want to encourage persons that if these things are happening to you, if you're feeling negative, if you are feeling depressed, reach out to someone, reach out to a psychologist, reach out to Jason, reach out to someone you know. And remind yourself as to how amazing you are, because you truly are. Don't let life knock the wind out of you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And
Bye.
no, but Sally, shouldn't they call you as well?
Yes.
Or they contact you if they need that additional assistance?
They can contact me. Well, I'm not a psychologist. I'm a life coach. But if they want to contact me, they can contact me at 730-7639. And I'll be happy to assist if I can or refer them to the next best person.
Thank you very much, Sally, and have a good night. And thank you for this song.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so this is not my segment coming up here. This is Deronn's segment. So we are getting ready to go straight to our coaches conference segment. The interviewer is Deronn Samlalsingh, and we have Edmund Pouchet, Brian Wickham, and Deronn Samlalsingh here.
Surprise me again, everyone. Good night. Firstly, happy birthday, Mr. Pouchet. I was advised your birthday was
you.
So happy belated.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program, Brian. Right. So I have been given the opportunity to coach to interview you all this evening. I mean, it's nice to be in the presence of you all and to learn from your experiences because, I mean, as a coach, I believe you're all learning. And both of you all are up there in the most experienced coaches in Trinidad and Tobago, of course. Right? So I'll start off with, what do you all see as your role in swimming? I mean, you all have been doing this quite some years now. What do you all currently see as your role? I mean, we can start with Brian. What do you see as your role in swimming currently?
Well, good evening, everyone. Happy birthday, Jason. Happy belated, Mr. Pouchet.
Yes, thank you.
I am all for holistic. Being an educator and a coach, I have those double hats to wear. And I believe my role in swimming is to ensure that athletes not only are going out there to perform and to achieve, but they're also striking a balance in their personal lives. Now, that's the correct one thing, Rocky, and I'm not putting down myself. I know you say two of us are very experienced. I mean, if we're talking experience, we're talking Mr. Pouchet. I think Mr. Pouchet has been doing this longer than I'm living, right? I see my role as to bring in that sort of transition and change in the sport. And it can't be about just going up and down the water, but it's about learning balance in life. And it's something that I would have heard many years ago. Very good swimmers are also extremely intelligent human beings and, able to really work on themselves much stronger than other athletes. So I see myself as, an individual who's really there to push that balance in life.
Okay, nice. Mr. Pouchet?
Yes, good night. Good night to all. And Jason, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, listen, I speak on my experience here. And over the years, ever since I started swimming, it was always an emphasis by most of the families in swimming. What is in it for the children besides the swimming? Most of them had a good education. They went to universities abroad, and they got something out of swimming. Just not looking to see if they could win a gold medal in the Olympics. And it had that there for them. You as a coach have to step in when you see a good swimmer and you're seeing not a backing from the parents with that. So you have to fall in as a parent role there and keep telling the swimmer, where you could reach, where you could go. Start doing about schools, talk about how he's getting on in school today, where he's going to end up, a North American scholarship. You're covering about $250,000 in scholarship. You keep reminding him of all the sharp, good points in swimming could give you. And both the parents, so you try to educate the parents as well. So you hold that balance and they know they're going to spend 7 years or 5 years with you. And this could be the end result could be that. And that's what you're really aiming at the end of the day.
Agreed. So, I mean, when we spoke to George a couple of weeks ago, right, I think 2 weeks ago, right, he said the coaches are more or less hero makers, right? So, based on what we just alluded to, is that we take a vested role in the lives of our swimmers, right? do you think that as coaches, I know George mentioned that we are really not given the respect we are often due. Do you think we are given respect? One, and two, what ways do you think, if you don't agree, that we could alter to make ourselves more respectable?
Well, we could always do the altering. That is in front of you. You could always take that image, look up upon it as a coach. What you want to be is beyond what people think of you. You can't bring any people at all because, as George rightfully said, you're not driving a Land Rover, so that says something about you. You're not in this big job and money turning over and all that. You're not in that. But remember, you choose this career. And your career and your satisfaction is not really about the Land Rover,
Okay.
Because when you could look back and you have swimmers graduating away and coming back and coming to the pool to you and still being an all-time friend and still thank you for all the things you have done for them, there's no price to that. That is really the price. When it's hard to get that feedback, you have done something positive and you pass on something to the swimmers that they will pass on also to the kids or anybody else under them. They'll pass on if they go in a workplace to work. You'll find they have that kind of relationship and push people themselves.
Holistic development.
Yes, that is what it's about.
Brian?
Same thought pattern there. It's about moving persons and when you see persons under your charge move from one to the next and really begin to exude that level of success in their life, I mean, I could speak to that, being really coaching right now, it's a lot of intrinsic motivation you have to look at. When you see swimmers go out there and do well in life, not only in the pool, but in life, it really does something for you. It really motivates you to want to stay in it. Because let's be real, there is no money in coaching swimming in this country. There is no money. So there has to be some other motivating factor that pushes you that really motivates you to remain in this sport.
Yeah. I'd like to step in here a minute,
Go ahead.
Rocky. For instance, on Monday was my birthday, and one of the swimmers sent a birthday message to me, thanking me for 20 years ago for what I've done for him to reach the Olympics. Now, I don't remember these things, I did 20 years, You did a lot of things, but you don't have it written down and, I helped this one and I go on the papers and they say, I helped Rocky and I make Rocky. No. It don't come like that. But it's nice when it's coming from the athlete to you. 20 years after, 22 years after, things like that. You've touched people way down the road, and you take that, what you did there, and you always, every day you have to improve, every year you have to improve. So you do better and better with it, and better you talk to more athletes, you encourage more athletes to go for it. As I said, what do you want out of the swimming? What could you get? You ask the parent, what could you get? I can get you, if we cooperate, I can get you $250,000 scholarship to the United States in a university. Yeah. Could we work with that? Answer mostly yes. So you start some kind of groundwork that they have they're working at something. That's not coming first alone is not it. You have to do good in class too. The school work. I had George, Sebastian Paddington, and I had Dylan Carter last year. Just by the pool, they came and I asked them to arrange for them to come at the pool to speak to the swimmers. Because a lot of swimmers said they missed because homework pile up on them and this. And they were able to give them all the structure ways you could do your homework without humbugging your training. Eliminate that negative. And this is what is given back counts for. Some people, parents might not be able to do that. But a past student, university student come and say, listen, I was going Fatima, I was under plenty pressure doing A levels, I had to do this, I had to do that for CXC. But I did it this way. This is one of the ways I did it. I had to swim and I had to go to school. So I did my best at school and I do my best at swimming. And that's how it was balanced off. And if you keep things like that in focus of the children, they realize that they're not failing because they ain't go to the Pan American Games. That's not really the do it all. We're not counting that as that. You reach there, excellent. But we could still go to United States or maybe England, and we could still get a good scholarship. And you could leave the university and come back here with a degree is which what you want to start life with. And that is what it is about. So they have to see the package of the education package behind the efforts in the pool. The better you swim, it most probably get a little edge in which university you can go to. It have that too. But the factor is you can go to a university, you can get a university education.
So you would
that's
say
where we like to end up. We all would like our children to end up there.
So you agree that swimming is a complementary product regardless. If you jump high, jump low, you become an elite swimmer, it will work out because it's a complementary product as it helps other aspects of your life and it's beneficial all around.
Definitely. In your job, listen, in the United States, the colleges in the States give the swimmers the best dorms, you know. Swimmers get the best, followed by the footballers and basketball. The corporation people get the swimmers the biggest jobs, they get the biggest jobs and the best jobs because the simple sacrifice they make and the people are aware of it, the corporations are aware of it. Swimming was not a natural thing for any human being. Like running and playing football and thing, you're on your feet and you can do that. The average person can run.
Yeah.
But swimming was a skill you had to learn. And then when you weigh swimming against most of the other sports, it's much more time spent in doing that sport. So having you hire me or Rock, you get hired in a corporation, you will stand out. You know things tough, you will get going.
Well,
these are the kind of things you could fall back from all your skills you've learned from swimming. You leave it all of that, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, these are the nice parts of it in your later part of your life. Your job, when you go into a job, they talk high up you get promotion because you went there to work and you could work. You've proven that in the pool already. You could work.
You know what it takes.
Yeah. To step it up, you know that. Nothing gonna break you. Where the next person might break and say, oh God, I fed up, I tired and think. You passed through plenty of that, you know. You had big sets and things you were doing and all that, you know, you could fall back on it. And these are the things you have to fall back on. I was saying an earlier conversation on suicide. To my lady there, who in the picture there. And if you check that out, it's people who didn't have those social, what they want to put it as, activities in their life. That is why parents become really a pillar in the children's life by finding things for them to do. You have to do things like that. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see them and get this. You're not going to not work and get this. You're not going to come swimming and you swim half and they get anything. So the more you put out, you have to tell them every time they stop. I don't want any stopping in the pool. You're stopping yourself from getting where you're supposed to go. Don't stop. Simple things like that. It's a long message because you have already told them what they're working at. The long-term goals are X, Y, and Z.
It's a different level of strength for swimmers. Different level of strength.
And Brian, and that is so true. And Brian, you know the thing happens? If you have strong leadership from coach to good swimmers, eventually you build a strong group. Everybody not going to be as bright as the next one, but they all understand how to get there and to achieve it. And that is what you already want to get going, that the whole group becomes successful. You got to feed on each other.
And we've seen that happen on teams, huh, Mr. Pouchet?
Huh?
We've seen that happen on teams.
Yes, that was a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
That's why I congratulate you. You did a fantastic job. I was there. I mean, I was there to see it. And they did a fantastic job. As they said early on, your teaching skills would have been part of that coaching also. To have them both respecting and be able to motivate.
Yeah.
Those are the key factors in it. I'm not saying you have to be a teacher to be a coach, you know. I'm not saying that. But I say it helps. You know, and children pick up, listen, I'm speaking to all here now. We work as a coach and we progress and we progress and we keep progressing. And at the end of the day, what you really want to come out of it, not you working at it, but what comes out of that as coach. It's a coach deck presence. When a coach could go on a pool deck, and regardless what swimmer from what club, whether it's a national team or it's a group coaching, everybody know they're listening and be attentive because they're going to learn something. And that is what you want to achieve. It takes some years. Obviously, everything takes time. It takes years to do it, but if you really live through your dream, you know what it takes, and you continue getting yourself educated in the field of coaching, ask questions. Always ask questions. I never waste a trip. I went from Pan American Games, Commonwealth Games, what they want to put it, World Games, Olympic Games. I sat and ate and drank coffee with the best coaches of the world. So I gained with that. Some of them were the top age group coaches in the States, all of these at the Olympics. Those are the ones I held on mostly to. And we developed a friendship, and we developed, where I bring them down and I went up there myself and spent 2 weeks with them. And that education, it's a next education again. You're quite aware of what they're doing on the outside there. You know what is required here for them to reach where they ought to go. And we always have a little advantage. Our children in Trinidad and Tobago are bright children.
Very.
We are bright. They are bright children. So one thing they're going to do is, you see that SAT exam they have to take, they're going to pass that. And from there, the door open.
All right.
So I just want to tell you all that, in general, it's just like that with Trinidad and Tobago.
Agreed.
We have that one thing going for us.
And to delve a little more into that topic, right? We, as Trinidadians and Tobagonians, we see we're not short of talent. All right. In certain regards, we're short of technology, funding, and other aspects. But if you were to, let's say we were to give you the duty of controlling swimming and finding a way upward to bridge the gap between us and the countries that excel in swimming, the USA, the Australias, right? What would you, with your years of experience, what have you learned that you could say we should do less of, do more of? What way would you guide us forward? Mr. Pouchet, you could start this off?
Yeah, the first thing would be to get to the Ministry of Education and allow a certain amount of swimming, if they have the pools available, for swimming to go on and finish, like secondary schools could hire coaches, Rocky, and we could have a program extended into the school they're going to, and they could go to school for 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock they start classes, so they go to school 6:30 or 6 o'clock and start 8 o'clock, 48, they come out and eat and then go to the classes. Those are the kind of things we need. Other than that, we go in 5 o'clock in the morning, finishing 7:30, 7:45, rushing off to school, and then you rush in the afternoon, you eat something, and you rush down to the pool to train, and some people could train from 3:30, 4 o'clock. Some other swimmers can't do that. They have to swim later on, and this is the difference. So we have to bring in the education, the Ministry of Education into it. We have to sell that first there to the Ministry of Sport. This is what we like to have going to the schools. And from there, you could branch up into every other thing you need to do. We look at next thing we should do. We should get as a group of coaches every Saturday. Let's put it every Saturday we take a what you call the best swimmers. I don't want to say a national team. The best swimmers. Put them through sets of training they should be doing. Speak to them, the age groups, where they are, and speak to them where they need to be going, what they should be doing at the various clubs when they go back to the clubs, how they should attack the workouts. That's the next thing. Swimmers swim up and down a pool. They don't know how to attack a workout to get better. You have to be able to open that to them and show them. A start is not an easy thing, and a finish is not an easy thing in swimming, especially competitive swimming. But how much practice you're putting into that? That's what's going to count. If you go up and down the pool and a stroke might be that good, you know what happens? You end up with an effective stroke going up and down mileage, and they can't straighten it. It takes a lot of time. You're not able to give back that time to work on the stroke. So that's one falls through the crack. So we have a big job ahead of us. And I think if we take it seriously, as we ought to take it, as I said, if we can get in where the swimmers could come in the mornings at school and from there take a workout there, even with the better class, the sharper. They're going to be sharp. That's one thing with swimming. When I check my records with my swimmers all over the years, they were the top in the school, Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5. They were within the first 6 or 7, while the others who are right there with them are people who just have a burning the candle both ends, just studying whole night and whole day. And they were able to excel both in the swimming and the academic. So these are one of the things you have to tell them. You have to know what outside is going on at outside too. You have to know the systems going on in the States, Australia, England. Keep abreast with that. So when we forming a program, you form into that in your mind that nobody outdoing you, doing something else, and you still doing this down here. You have to be aware of all those things. Right. So international friendship is excellent. It's excellent. And those fellas outside, let me tell you this, they don't hold back anything. Have a talk with any coach at any rank, whether Australia, England, United States. They give you everything. It's for you to take it and ask the questions. But they give you everything. So we have to invest in ourselves. We're in a club, let the club pay for it and go up 2 weeks. Pick a coach and go up 2 weeks. I would recommend the coaches you all go up by. Spend 2 weeks, watch them train every morning session, every afternoon session. That's all you're doing. When you come back here, you're packed with that kind of knowledge. You know where they should be going, what they should be doing, how they attack the workouts, how they churn. I mean, the American children work hard, you know. Every day is a competition in the pool. We have to get our swimmers to that. Every day must be a competition. You don't wait for race day to swim the race. You have to be racing in the pool every day. Do something pertaining to your race every day in order for you to race at competition time, at a championship time, a national team picking. You're doing X amount of things that will have you ready for that race. So all these are the inside. You know, Rocky, you know, I was hoping when the COVID here, but I was hoping that most probably I could really come at the pools and have sessions with the coaches, you know. You know, at least to have them to raise everybody back. This is what I am about right now. I have done most of what I need to do already. I'm still learning, and you never stop learning. Every new brand of kids you get, you learn something from them.
Okay. Nice. Brian, as an educator, do you think we in Trinidad are ready to make this step? Because, I mean, it's not solely incumbent on the coaches wanting or desire to do this, but it's incumbent on us having a relative structure where students involved in sports, right? It isn't solely academic based. Do you think we're ready for that as a nation?
Yeah, we're ready for anything, you know. Look at what happened with the COVID. We ready for this?
Brian was talking to, right?
Yeah. Yes, Brian. And what happened? This is the new normal, Brian.
I know.
You know, so if we listen, if we thinking that they're not ready.
Mr. Pouchet.
Yeah.
Yeah. He asked Brian the question.
Sorry about that.
All right. A big part of it, Rocky, is changing the mentality of people. It's not only about swimming, it's about sports. That's a big part of it. We are such an academically competitive society. We feel that almighty pass is the be-all and the end-all. And Mr. Pouchet spoke at length just now about when they go to the US and they go to colleges. Uncle Sam doesn't want to see you have 8 O-level grade 1s and Cape. Uncle Sam doesn't want that alone. Uncle Sam wants to know what else you as that little, and I'll use the term black boy from Trinidad and Tobago because as far as they're concerned, you know, that's how we're seen. Bringing
Black Lives Matter, Brian.
I know, bringing something extra to the table.
Yeah.
Right? It's extremely important that we change our mentality. We are too academically competitive. Test. I mean, it's almost like what the other thing say about COVID. Test. We have to be able to strike the balance. And added to what I was saying just now, Rocky, Mr. Pouchet mentioned about bringing it to schools. There needs to be, and we've been saying this for donkey years now, there needs to be a total overhaul of the curriculum that is offered in our schools. A child should not just be going to school to go up from first year to standard 5 and every single thing is test, this test, the other test, what grade, what mark, I'm in the A class, B class. It's not about that alone. I mean, I never swam competitively. I just did life saving. And but my mother ensured that all of us were involved in activities. Mr. Pouchet spoke about being involved in various activities. And I can tell you, 2 weeks before my first A-level exam, I was in Guadeloupe playing pan because I was into music. There must be a balance, and people have to understand that life cannot be about a grade and a pass. And I'm not saying that the grade and the pass are important, you know. But we need to strike the balance. And if we could have that change in mentality, when a child is writing essay, they stop swimming for a whole 6 months because it's all about schoolwork or TXU. It does nothing for that child in developing the whole child into that holistic individual. And that's one of the main things that has to change. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there has to be a change in the way we think as people and as parents involved in the sports.
Nice. Brian, as you mentioned just now, right? You mentioned you didn't swim competitively, right? You'd hear a lot of coaches discuss their experiences in the sport, help them to become a better coach. What's your views? Do you think not being involved in swimming at that competitive level left you at any disadvantage as a coach?
Certainly not. I mean, it is always good when you have a coach who has been through the thick and thin, and I could speak to coaches like Chantal. Having Chantal on teams has always been an exceptional experience because she can speak as swimmer, someone who's recently gone through it. I don't think that it brings down your value as a coach. However, having that experience as a swimmer definitely can add to it. But what it leaves open for an open-minded coach is to learn even from those who are perceived as lower down the ranks. I mean, I always talk about someone like Chantal, who has done, I have seen over the last 2 years, done an exceptional job on national teams. And just as Mr. Pouchet would have pulled me in when you're on teams, I mean, sometimes Mr. Pouchet, remember Aruba, 2 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Pouchet sit down, just giving all the knowledge and the experiences and helping me to grow as a coach. I mean, that is something, you know, because just sit down with Chantal and talk with her, and it really eases a coach to see another coach do well and improve.
All right. Buddy boy, I mean, it's nice to hear from the coaches, but you have been involved in the administrative aspect of coaching for quite some time, right? So you would see, I mean, it's nice to get external viewing. So as much passion as we have, along the way, I mean, we would falter. We wouldn't always come across as we would like to be seen. What are your views on coaches in Trinidad and Tobago, and I mean, where you see we fall short?
I think a coach is a very important. Coaching is a very important profession. I mean, I became more respectful of it when I started to work in swimming, make my career swimming. Coaches, as George would have said in the previous interview, you know, the coach is one of the, I think he said, the 3rd most important person in a child's life, and they're very important in forming, helping to develop kids. And I think what my issue generally with coaches in Trinidad and Tobago, while I do feel that they do a lot to develop their athletes and stuff. I mean, we talked about if we would go back to the promo for the show, I think we have to look, in order for us to have more respect in the coaching, I think on a local level within ourselves and within coaches in Trinidad and Tobago, I think we have to find a way for coaches to have more respect for one another, right? I think it's too often that sometimes it depends on, I mean, I think sometimes too the coaches, and this is probably not on the coaches, but maybe more the administrators, the coaches have been allowed to get too involved in the politics of the sport, right? And the politics of the sport, and not focus more of the energies on the development of the athletes, right? Sometimes, too often when you go to meetings, etc., it becomes too much about personalities rather than, you know, what we can do for the sport. And I do honestly believe that we have residents in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of good coaching talent, and a lot of senior coaches who can help and develop the younger coaches in Trinidad and Tobago. And I would like to see a greater cooperation, not a convenient cooperation when it comes to certain teams and things like that, but a real greater cooperation in order to develop swimming in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to be less selfish, right, and focus on that red, white, and black. It's too. I will never forget a time I went to. We were in Jamaica. I went as a official, and we had on the jersey, "Be ready now" or something like that, right? And we came out 3rd or 4th, and the other countries put "We ready" 2 on their jerseys, and I was laughing at Trinidad and Tobago. And if people are laughing at us on the outside, we really have to sit down and look at coaching in Trinidad and Tobago, because coaches are very important to the development of humans. And I really hope that we could put aside all the stupidness that does go. I talk and play. We could put aside all the stupidness that does go on all the time, and the politics and the friend thing that happens. And I think parents should spend more money on a coach than they're spending on a technical suit. Parents shouldn't be spending $300 US on a technical suit and they want to contribute to coaching in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think when the coaches have that respect among themselves, I think we'll go so much further. And I know Brian and Edmund have worked together in CARIFTA and things like that, but we need to get it widespread in Trinidad and Tobago, or I don't think we'll go forward as we should.
Mr. Pouchet made a point before about making it something regular every Saturday, pulling out those swimmers, who we see as potentials to move on. That is something that we wanted to get going last year. I mean, we saw it work for CARIFTA. We saw how it worked. We saw the coaches communicating with each other, respecting each other. We saw the swimmers responding well, and we dropped the ball. And I'm sorry to say it this way, maybe I'll be plain talk like Jason, but a lot of it has to do with egos. Who feels they're better than the next one? Who feels I shouldn't send my child to swim with this coach? It's too much egos. It's too much egos. I have always, and I've maintained this, and this is not a big up Mr. Pouchet, but I've always maintained that Mr. Pouchet is one of the few coaches that I've seen out there look at one of my swimmers and say, Brian, give me a little 10 minutes. Let me show you what else they could do differently. Let me help to change this little part of this stroke. We don't do that to each other. We don't do that for each other as coaches. We want to operate in our bubbles, feel that we are the best of the best. And as Jason correctly said, we go out there and they look and they laugh and they see divisions in our swim team when you go abroad there. Last year, we experienced something different. And I keep on begging for us to reach back to that point that we experienced last year, where we saw coaches really coming together and doing the best for Trinidad and Tobago.
And I mean, in my opinion as well, is that we need to find a way to realize that it's no longer about you and I, right? It's no longer about the coaches. We're here to upgrade swimming now, right? We are here now, we're doing our best. After we go on swimming, we'll remain. What did we do for swimming, right? What impact did we have? And even like on national teams, sometimes you'll watch, you would see coaches still gravitate towards their athletes from their clubs. Right, I really like the idea. I mean, I've heard it mentioned before, and it's something that we need to get a group of swimmers and really focus on. Not saying it's exclusive to them alone, but you set certain standards that this is the criteria for being in this group, right? It will help coaches, one, swimmers, two, not necessarily in that order. Because even though you're trying to help the swimmers, you have coaches that will come and stand around Trinidad's elites, right? So, Mr. Pouchet, you will be able to then, it's open to coaches from various clubs, right? They come down and they hear and see you at your craft, They look at you dealing with your art, right? And they learn from you, right? You are there among swimmers, and it's as I think Mr. Pouchet mentioned it earlier, we pull each other forward, right? When the first man went the 4 minutes in a mile, people believe they could do it. And with like-minded individuals, coaches and swimmers alike, we all really push swimming to that point where we need to be. I don't think it can continue to be segregated and club against club, because at the end of the day, you could be how fast beating this club, beating your comrades in the next club. When we go out there, if you're not dominating it makes no sense.
That's right. And I'll tell you something, Rocky. What is very noticeable in the last few years, because of technology, a lot of parent coaches, and that is a problem in age group swimming, because you cannot be telling a swimmer what to do, what they should be concentrating on, and that parent telling the swimmer what they want them concentrate on. The swimmer comes in the pool in the workout, the most confused person. Which one he listens to? Before a race, the coach talked to him about the race, because I'm coaching him. I know where you need to build a strength, to work on the strength we work on. And the parent will tell him, don't forget this, and do this and do that, because they could read a book, they could go on the net, they could pull on a program, but that don't give them the ability to be a coach. It doesn't give them that.
That's all.
Because what we learn, and you will be learning as a young aspiring coach coming up, there's something called an eye for a coach. The eyes of a coach. I will watch a swimmer swimming up and down the pool, and I'll be working out what I will do to change what he's doing. I work out my head, but I have him going lengths. I want you to do the same thing. And all coaches should do that. Then they develop an eye for coaching. That parent will never see that. They're not working on it, they don't know it, and they never apply it. But there is a big part in the child's future and progress in swimming. How can it be? It can't work like that. That's what technology done to swimming lately. So don't mind swimming look like it falling down. It's a lot of the parents too involved.
Yeah,
I don't need to tell. Huh?
Go ahead, when you finish.
Yes, a lot of parents too involved. What the parents are supposed to do, basically, keep on track with the schoolwork, keep on track on the swimming, keep on track with the eating, proper food, and the diet, and keep on track with the sleeping. And the rest, we all working together with, is that scholarship. After that is the scholarship. So if you hold your grounds as a parent, you're doing the best for your child. My best swimmers I had, really, was parents who never came around the pool, you know. Parents who never came around the pool. They come to a meeting, and we call it a club meeting, they come. And after that, back home. You won't see them for months until a competition, you see the father and mother come and sit down the stand. But I was proud because he's doing excellent, or she's doing excellent in schoolwork. So I know they're doing their part. And if you get that going in a club, but you have to work at it, that's like how you're working in the programs, you have to work with that. You have to work with strengthening the parent point of what the strengths are. You're not a coach. Let's start. You're a parent. You're not a coach. Yeah. Leave that for the coaches. Bring him on time, feed him, and make sure he's on top of his schoolwork. Simple.
Rocky, yeah, I agree with some of the things Mr. Pouchet has said with regards to the parent role. I think it's also important that coaches sorry, September, don't get it on again. So sorry for the noise in the background.
That's all right.
But yeah, so I think the coaches too need to establish themselves at their various clubs that, listen, this is my role and this is your role. Too often, sometimes at certain clubs, you'll have some friend thing going on and you'll see parents on the deck and parents want to get involved. Coaches too need to draw the line, right? And let them establish that I am the coach. And on top of that, I think within the coaching fraternity itself, I think we have to try to minimize the negative talk about other coaches, because somebody will say something and they'll go to the next coach and they'll say, yeah, but that coach talking shippiness. And that too will assist with people taking coaches more seriously as well as additionally.
Yeah, the respect have to come from us. And
Yes.
secondly, if you ever come to my pool running training, it will be the coaches and myself on that
Right.
pool deck. You don't see anybody else. They can sit down and stand, but they're not supposed to even be heard.
Correct.
That's it. That's when I run into it. It's not a matter of I don't want to hear them and they have no say, you know. If you have anything to tell me, you can meet me after we finish. The set is over. I could give it 15 minutes before I go home, 20 minutes, or come
Yeah.
extra early and we could talk tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right? And that helped balance their
Yeah.
position. It helped balance, but you remember they have the child to still go, you can't go home with them and go and talk to them. They still have that privilege. But I
Yeah.
keep showing them the most successful swimmers locally I coach didn't have that problem. So it must be something you're doing that is not working. You're stepping into a coach's area, strength, and you're trying to be a coach outside being a coach. It happened to all clubs. It's all clubs that happen in.
All clubs, yeah.
Right? So this is the main barrier now. When I said it for about the last 10, 14 years, about 10 years ago, I said one good thing, one bad thing going to come out of this technology. When swimmers start to come on tape and they I said everybody going to sit and everybody feel that. That's all they have to do is do this and do that. Tell them this and tell them that. It's not that. That's the furthest from the truth. It's not that. You start to see that swimmer. What philosophy is that swimmer working with? Rocky. What's the philosophy in the head that they must come every day and work hard? What is the end result? Where are they working for?
Yeah.
They might not be a Pan American or Commonwealth material. They might not be that. But they could work to come good enough, both to their academic and their swimming, to make a college team. And that there is about 80% of your scholarship. I'm not afraid of that, because we can eat that anyhow we twist it, our children can eat up that.
Yeah.
Right? So that part is good. We have that cork already. So we only work on two parts. Keep fit and swim well and swim good enough that you can swim for your college. That's what they want. When they take in a corporation, if the private corporation take it in, they're gonna big you up. You're a national swimmer, this and that and the other. Yeah, they're gonna do that for themselves there. You're gonna also do it by your work in ethics. You're gonna be higher than the average person, without trying to put out anything more than anybody else. Your work ethics usually be just higher because of what you're past as a swimmer. So we have to remember it has so many good things come out of it.
Yeah.
That balling at a swimmer by a pool up and down. You never sit down and swimmer and tell them where they could reach, where we're going at and what we're doing at. Then you have not done a job. You call yourself a coach, but you have not done plenty things a coach normally do. That's why you have coaches like myself, over 70, all over the world, especially in America. Those are the coaches that keep them there going. The Eddie Reese and all them is 78 and 79, you know.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it's for a reason. They know it as they see it, they know it. They have an eye. They can see where this one going in 2 years, they can see where that one going in 3 years. And the same in age group. You can have 11 to 12, but listen to me. He might be winning now, but they can see down the road 15 to 17, nobody going to be beating him, you know. He continues training, you be trained.
Yeah.
And those are the little things you have to have inside. And you remind the swimmer that, you know, they have late bloomers. You're going to come on, don't be afraid, you're going to come on. And when a person who'd been losing come a winner, is a hard person to lose again, you know.
Yeah.
They don't like what losing is.
Yeah.
And they have to taste it. When you're winning and they start losing, it's a difficult position to be in. You don't know how to lose. Losing is not a nice spot either.
Hi, Rocky. I'm seeing a comment here, right? Said, coaches need to be professional. They can't make rules and break them when it works for them.
What's that?
So a comment, coaches need to be professional. They can't make rules and break them when it works for them.
Listen, that sounds like a parent. Not knowing who that person is. That's a real parent.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a parent. That's a parent, coach or a parent. One of them.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be serious about it.
But coaches don't need to be professional. Coaches need to be professional.
We are, you know what? You're not, you gotta put in that comment there. Coaches are not paid enough. Instead of writing that, sending that comment and making sense. We are professionals, and that's what they don't want to accept. We are professionals in our job.
But isn't that coaches have to do more? Isn't that coaches who have to always operate as professionals? I mean, a coach is a professional. A coach is a profession. We agree with that. And coaches, I agree, coaches should be paid as professionals. But I think what they're trying to say too is sometimes I think coaches don't behave like professionals. I think that...
Well, who making a judgment call of that? A coach could ball at a child, you know. I don't like it, I don't do it in my pool. I don't like to hear it. But it doesn't mean he can't do that. He could do that. Especially if it's a child, he know it will meet the child's requirement, what the child needs to hear to get going. He's a better judge of it all.
Right.
I may never do it, but I can't say because you did it, Jason, you shouldn't be doing that. You're not a professional. I can't make that statement. I can't make that statement.
Brian, quiet for a while.
Brian.
Any comment to make on that?
My thing is that, I mean, every coach will have their philosophy. Every coach will have what works for them. Within the confines of how you operate could determine and dictate your level of professionalism. I mean, for some coaches, and that sometimes even in coaching, I'm not going to say like Mr. Pouchet, I don't shout. Sometimes I will have to shout. I may have to shout. You have to go, you know, you will have to shout. People may not appreciate that, but as a coach too, you also have to be very flexible. You have to be flexible in your approach. That's professionalism.
Brian.
Okay, I'm not sure, I don't think the parent mean like shouting and things like that. That's all part of right? I mean, a coach, we don't expect a coach to say, okay, do 425s. No, we don't expect that. But talking about coaching as a profession, as in how I guess how coaches relate to one another, if they do continuous professional development, right? If they continue to be educated, that's about profession. Some coaches, they think they come up by the deck, they don't do any kind of preparation,
it starts from the beginning, even with sometimes even learn to swim. There are some places that will hire somebody and call them a learn to swim coach, and the person just knows how to swim and went through, and our days was starfish and shark and the different levels, and then they say they're a coach, right? We need to determine the parameters as to who can be classified as a professional coach. And someone just saying they have, I did not see even though I went and I did my levels 1 up to 5, it's through experience and exposure that you really begin developing your skills as a coach. Not because you have 1,000 swimmers under you mean that you might be the best coach. It has to do with exposure, has to do with experience, and obviously willing to accept advice from others. We are so territorial as coaches sometimes. We don't want to take advice, right? There are people there. I mean, Mr. Pouchet, correct me if I'm wrong. Very early in my coaching career, we used to disagree, but when we went on a team, we sat down and we discussed and we talk about things, and we were always there, professional. But we put our egos aside, we put all our biases aside, and we did what was best. If coaches don't know how to get that.
Yeah, but Brian, as I mentioned, ego. I was in the swimming fraternity. I was judged a lot by. They always felt that I ready to bang at somebody and you can't talk to me, and you know, this kind of way. It may be I don't know. It may be my personality was that way.
Yeah.
But that was not me. If you spoke to me, you'll see that never came out of me. I was very sharp at meetings because I think that when I sat down at meetings, I used to go in a meeting, and when I sit down in a meeting now, and I watch a fella who never coached nowhere, Brian, and he's a head coach of some little club by night he opened, and he had the same vote with me. And imagine I making a point and he voted against that point because he don't agree with it. What he didn't agree with? Something he don't know? What he didn't agree? And that is what I said. That is the first part of our association. That was the first part of coaches not really starting to disrespect each other, because it might be a disrespect to the coach when I said something on behalf of what he did. I said, but they don't understand why it is a voting against. You don't understand what I just said there? And that might not be the right place and time for it. And of course, banging at anybody is not nice. You know that. Especially when they know that they kind of know, you're making them know that they don't know. It's not a nice way to do things.
Yeah.
And I am guilty of plenty of those things, you know. Because I always felt, you know, the Swimming Association was not a place to waste time.
Correct.
When we go in the night, it's not a waste. Don't waste any time. Let's get on to what we get down to, and let's get on. And let's do what we have to do and go home after that. So, because of that, of course, I rubbed up on people wrong. And if they hold on to it, and maybe that's how they judge me for the rest of my life. I don't know.
As the young people say, some people tote too much.
Yes, that's the next thing. Yeah. Half of them must say, Brian, plenty of them must have hernia. Because you can't go on.
Hold on. Woo.
Brian, you cannot go on live toting.
You can't do that.
Then you're not growing. First thing, Rocky, many of us going to be different.
Yeah.
Right? You might go to a group of students and tell them something. Now, my philosophy in coaching is I always wait till they reach the wall. Who near to you going to hear what I'm telling you? Who down in lane sit not hearing? But I'm going to let you have it there. Your parents can't hear. I ain't talking for the parents, number one, because I don't want them involved. I talk to the swimmer. And I started asking him how good he doing maths, English, what percentage you get. And when he tell me one, he ain't get a good percentage. I still, that come like what I telling you. You don't understand the subject at all, you know? But I would tell him something like that. But all is a reverse psychology. But nothing for the rest of the people sitting down to laugh or, boy,
ridicule.
Book up this one and he book up. No. And you don't want me to tell you that more than once in the night, eh? So that's the power in the reverse psychology in coaching. But I have a good relationship. I mean, I don't know who call me uncle. Them calling me uncle. For all the years I know everybody's uncle Edmund. How long I looking old, boy? I'm a damn long time. Everybody's Uncle Edmund. I'm looking at myself, I go, I didn't have no set of gray hair that time. I said, well, what the hell making him feel like uncle, boy? Yeah. But I never stop it. This is a nice relationship I had with them, and I always have. Some of the parents I do have a good relationship with, but that is also expected. We're not living in a perfect world. But if you get your philosophy in your club working for you, that's the key to a good club. You get a group of people with the administration, everybody, buy into the philosophy. Rocky, you have a good thing going. That is what you need to get off the ground first. If you get that off the ground, the club will be in a nice position. The club members will be in a nice. You're bound to get one or two of them not agreeing to nothing. Yeah. You bring ice cream they don't want. So that's all right. But you want the majority. And that is where you take the step. You take over that into the national team.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I was telling Brian, when we were running the national team, you know, if fellas like all, they could have come around. Let's be around and be in the mix with us.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll be elevating, because you understand how we speak to them, what we're not telling them, and when they ask a question, how we answer them. That's another thing, you know. When someone's asked a question, that's when you learn the most from them, you know. When they ask the question, because I asked them 4. Everyone they ask me, I ask them 4, you know. I make sure and register 4.
Yeah.
And then I come around and said, but you know, now what I ask you this question, you know, you just answer yourself, that's not the one you asked me.
Yeah.
Okay,
they understand more.
Yeah. There's a lot of psychology, reverse psychology. You don't know nobody coming in next day to swimming and feeling they was buff yesterday and they you know, the head down and they no, you don't that. You don't that because sometimes you have a workout plan out. You can't take nobody that mosquito bite. You want nothing hamburger them.
Yeah.
Because you're really going to wrap it tonight with them. Push them to the limit. Tomorrow ease off, you back off. But you get a limit push tonight here. And that's what you really wanted. So I mean, all the psychology in it. That's what it is about. But I would like now, Rocky, I'd like to sit down with coaches and go through a program, or go through a first 3 months of the season, what we're doing. Second 3 months, where we are, we're going to competition time, what you should be going into now. Educate, and by educating, you get more educated yourself.
And coaches be willing to accept that education and that dialogue. That's a very
well. Let's form a committee, Jason.
Oi.
Form a committee, or form something with the coaches, and we do it. We won't be talking about it. We'll go and do it.
I agree. Make, you know, to form a Trinidad and Tobago Swim Coach Association.
Yeah, anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Pouchet, at the end of the day, too, for example, I mean, when people see me invite you to this program in the past, I said as man, we never had a relationship where we would communicate and stuff, right?
Right.
I see you as a coach, and I told you this already, that I see you as a coach that can have so much to share with the other coaches. Yes, yeah. As you said, you may go in a meeting and get on a certain kind of way, but you go there for your swimmers, or you go there because you don't like to hear stupidness, and you have a low tolerance to that, and that's fine. But I see you as a person right now in this juncture that you would have all the answers, but persons can listen to the information that you have and help to develop themselves, and we could try to develop the entire sport and the whole fraternity. That's the point we need to reach now.
All right. And so Brian and Jason, we reach. Yes, let's do it. Jason, I told you happy birthday, right?
Yes, you did.
Right. So Monday I was 71, you know, Jason.
I heard so.
What are you, 31?
Nah, not 9.
All right, you're halfway there. But what I'm saying is, I believe in doing now. The reason for it, my age can tell you that. Let us do it now. Let's start it now.
Yeah. Yes.
Rocky, you want to go with that?
Yeah, well, I just want to find out. I mean, I would hope and believe there are some junior coaches, even senior coaches could learn. I mean, we all learn from each other. If you had to say, I mean, passion is something that would have drove you through the years, right? But if you had to say one key thing that is integral or has been integral to your success in the sport, I mean, I know one doesn't begin to touch who you are and what has made you, but if you just had to say one general thing that you think as a coach it is integral for you to be successful, what would you say? We could close off with that.
Passion.
Passion
for coaching, yeah. I had the passion, I always wanted it. Since I know myself, when I started the first day to now, the enthusiasm is still there. Nice. I could miss work when I was working, but I can't miss swimming, you know. Yeah.
Fire, Brian?
Same as Mr. Pouchet's passion, not only passion about the sport, but passion about those young minds that you have the opportunity right now to move them to a new level of operations. That passion is critical. If you don't have the passion, if you're going to become a coach because you could make a little extra piece of money, makes no sense. It makes no sense.
That's right, Brian.
All right. I mean, I want to thank you all so much. I often hear persons use the term passing the torch, and I'm glad we're all on the same page that we're not looking to pass the torch, we're looking to ignite each other's torches, right?
That's
so I believe we should all continue to spread that fire, and everybody goes their way, and we all learn from each other. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, right? And we have so much knowledge to share, so much we could do as a country, so much more improvements to be had. And I thank you all for sharing your advice, experiences, and knowledge. All right, so on behalf, Jason, you want to close us off?
You can go ahead.
On behalf of
Let's
Chlorine
tell Jason for me.
Yeah.
I know him to be an honest person.
Uh-huh.
Tonight, both you and Jason try to duck the conversations to the people you're speaking to and the wider public of your underground economy.
What?
Right? And I know of it. Okay?
What underground?
All right. But you're crying and crying and this and I make out and I can't make out. But I knew better than that. Okay? I just want to tell you all, you didn't get through me at all with that.
What underground economy, sir?
How are we going to talk that to the public? That's my information.
I want to hear.
No, I can't tell you that. I could tell you over the phone when I see you.
Well, you have to tell me about that because I want to find out about your underground economy too.
You will find out about that. And if it is big, you don't know about it, eh? Thank you.
Pleasant night, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Pouchet. Thank you, Brian.
All right. A pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks again.